Welcome back, everybody. Climate change, global warming, global cooling, whatever it is, it's been an issue of the radical left, and it's been featured as a major topic during all of their debates. And I wanted to take this issue head on ahead of the Iowa caucus tonight. We're now joined by Heather Reams, Executive Director of Citizens for Responsible Energy Solutions. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Salcedo Show.
Great to be with you.
If you watch the mainstream press, climate change is treated as gospel, literally a religion. Can you separate the facts from the narrative that has, what have scientists actually confirmed?
Well, I think the climate is changing, but how much humans are contributing to climate is a question, certainly that Republicans have. But I think we're pivoting away of is it changing and why, and more about solutions. And that's where you're starting to see some divide between Republicans and Democrats about the solutions that are right for America.
Yeah, you know what, I want to touch on that here in a minute. But according to credible data out there, the Earth's mean temperature isn't rising or falling. It's been pretty much the same for over 20 years. Once you get rid of all of the heat island temperature readings that were introduced by the Obama administration to elevate the temperatures in major cities. So really, I don't think the other side has proven that man is the genesis, with our minuscule contribution of CO2, that we are the genesis of climate change on this globe. Have they proven it in your mind?
I think what they've proven is that it's a political winner to engage on climate change. On the left, they've made it an alarmist issue. We have to do everything we can, dismantle our way of life, dismantle capitalism, all in the name of climate change. I think the right is engaging in a place that's much more pragmatic. If you look at the Green New Deal and what they want versus what Republicans are starting to talk about, I'll take the Republican plan any day of the week.
Now, you know what? Yeah, let's boil down what the solutions are. If you look at the left wing, they say man is definitely causing climate change, but they have offered no proof. Nobody can provide for me an equation that says X amount of man-made CO2 results in X amount of temperature change on the planet. There is no equation. It doesn't exist. They haven't proved it. But their solution is all the same. Government control, high taxation, lower quality of life. And exactly. A lot of Republicans and a lot of conservatives are coming around to the way of thinking, okay, let's all accept that climate is changing, because we all can accept that it is. We can accept that it's changing. How do we as a species adapt? And we're not going to be able to adapt at all if we're dirt poor. And that's where the Democrats and the leftists want to make us. I think we're better equipped. I don't know, maybe you share this sentiment. I think we're better equipped to handle the changing climate if we have means to adapt. Yes or no?
Oh, for sure, Chris. Having the means to adapt is one part of it. If our roads are not able to handle extreme heat or extreme cold, that's a problem. Our pipelines, if they're not able to deal with climate change in some way, that's a problem. So we've got to make our infrastructure more rigid. But also in looking at some of the areas of expanding the all-the-above platform that the Republicans have embraced, right? They're not picking any kind of energy source, unlike the Democrats that want to see renewable energy only and keeping the fossil fuels in the ground. That's just not realistic right now. And if it will ever be is really a question that many have, speaking of science and research. So we're talking about expanding all the above energy, using, if you're a state that has, the winds blow in your state, that means you're going to produce wind energy. That's excellent. But you may also be using biofuels, and you may also be using solar and nuclear. Every state has its what it can do. And we should be embracing that, expanding it, but lowering emissions every way we can. And that's where Republicans are coming out differently. They're not being prescriptive about exactly what kind of energies, but how do we lower emissions using the market, using consumer demand, but also bringing down costs and ensuring reliability. This is what consumers want. This is what voters want.
Yeah, pipelines are better for the environment because they lower the CO2 footprint. And you're talking to a guy who's broadcasting from a state that is #1 in oil production. We're a big cog in the oil export business, and we're #1 in wind renewable energy. So it's an all-of-the-above approach in the great state of Texas. Let me just ask you a theoretical question, and let me see, because I've had some fun with liberals on this. I've asked, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, we know, according to you folks, that CO2 is destroying the planet. And the number one CO2 emitter on the planet is who? And they will say America, and of course they're wrong. It's China, and I have to correct them on that. So if it's China, I can expect that you progressives will sign on to an invasion of the United States and China to shut down all of these CO2 emitting filthy plants they have over there, the communist Chinese. Can you guess how many Democrats take me up on my prescription for stopping China's global killing CO2 emitters?
Yeah, let me take a guess of 0, right? You're not seeing that. So,
Yeah.
and that's one of. I mean, you're trying to solve a problem, and then you're not looking abroad and finding out what's happening there. You're also looking at dismantling the United States and our capitalistic society to make sure we have income redistribution. So it does make you wonder if Democrats are really interested in solving the climate problem, or is it really that they're trying to impose a political agenda?
Yeah, to get more serious about this, and it's exactly what you just alluded to. The progressive wing, the Democrat Party, the socialists in this country, they don't seem to be about stopping CO2 emission, which they claim is destroying the planet. They seem, through their policies, more eager not to go after a communist nation, which I believe they're more ideologically aligned with, the Chinese. They seem more intent on going after America's strength. Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, it does appear that way when you're talking about keep it in the ground. And natural gas, after all, has decreased carbon emissions tremendously in the United States. Why would you want to get rid of natural gas and go exclusively to renewable energy, not recognizing the value? Emerging technologies like carbon capture sequestration, an excellent way of using what we have, but also improving upon it. And let's not forget nuclear. A lot of this splits the left on engaging on expansion of nuclear energy or even advanced nuclear. If you really care about reducing emissions, why aren't they calling for expansion of nuclear? They're not. So there's a lot of mixed messaging that's coming out of the left, and it's hard to understand who's speaking for the party.
You're right. Natural gas is abundant. We're the Saudi Arabia of natural gas here in the United States, and it's a great bridge fuel to the future if only we can stop the socialists from keeping us from exploiting it. Ma'am, thank you very much. I appreciate your time here on the Chris Salcedo Show.